about who hasn't been challenged.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Carpentersville Village Board to order. Terry, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Burroway, Trustee Stevens.
Here.
Trustee Humper, Trustee Sabi.
Here.
Trustee Raver.
Here.
Trustee Schultz, President Ritter.
Here. We do have several. Trustee Humper is caught in the polling lines. He's been waiting to vote. Trustee Schultz is in another meeting and should be here shortly.
Don is upstairs.
As is Trustee Burroway. So they will be here shortly, but we'll proceed as far as we can. I think we can just continue on through the meeting. But we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for an invocation from Pastor Ball. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Ball.
Thank you. Good evening, and let us pray. Heavenly Father, we just come before you this evening to say thank you. Lord, we glorify your name, and we just appreciate the opportunity to serve you. And Father, we take this time now to pray over our village board meeting tonight, asking that you would guide us, lead us, and direct us. And Lord God, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And God, we give all our plans over to you, for you know what's best for us, and we trust what's best for you, Lord God. And we thank you in your name. Amen.
Next order of business is a proclamation honoring Christian Brunner. Is Christian here this evening? Wonderful. Why don't you come up to the podium, Christian? I have to say it's been wonderful following your progress day to day in the newspaper. I know that I got in the Daily Herald. And so today is actually Christian Brunner Day in Carpentersville. It's in the proclamation. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, whereas Dundee Crown High School wrestler Christian Brunner qualified and represented Dundee Crown High School at the Illinois High School Association State Wrestling Championship, and whereas Christian Brunner had a 48-0 record in his weight division, winning championships in Geneva, Fox Valley Conference, regionals, and sectionals, and Christian went on to take first place in the state wrestling championship. Whereas the Village of Carpentersville recognizes the accomplishments of this fine young athlete and honors him for the dedication, discipline, and hard work he has shown in achieving these goals. And whereas head coach Tim Hayes, assistant coaches Rick Marino, Jim Brunner, Brad Allround, and Bob Stillman have trained, guided, and supported this young man and should also be commended and recognized for their commitment to the Dundee High School athletes. And whereas I, Ed Ritter, President of the Village of Carpentersville, hereby declare today, March 15, 2016, as Christian Brunner Day in the Village of Carpentersville. And now, therefore, I, Ed Ritter, President of the Village of Carpentersville, hereby extend congratulations to Dundee Crown wrestler Christian Brunner for his wrestling achievements in the last 4 years at Dundee Crown High School. Dated and signed to the Village of Carpentersville, Kane County, Illinois, this 15th day of March 2016. Congratulations.
I'd just like to thank my family for supporting me and my coaches for helping me learn wrestling and continue to grow every day in the wrestling room. And yeah, thank you.
John is going to do some.
Okay, go ahead, John. Sure, no problem.
Mr. Devon LaRosa, principal, please come on up. AD, Mr. Steve Gertz, I'd like to introduce. Head coach Tim Hayes, please come up. Come on up to the podium, please. Coach Skillman, Coach Brunner, please come up. We also have, obviously, Coach Brunner is Christian's dad, and we have Kim, Mrs. Brunner's in the crowd over here videotaping, so say hello. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit to our village president's speech, and actually, Christian is a three-time place. You guys have this already, right? First three-time placer in Dundee Crown history at the state championship in Champaign. So that's pretty amazing. He had 165 wins over the year, and then obviously we know he's going to be going to Purdue on a wrestling scholarship. So
Okay.
that's all great news. Steve, did you have something? Anybody?
I would just say that we are, as the athletic director, we are very, very proud of Christian and his accomplishments. Not only has he done a remarkable job in the wrestling mat, but he's truly been a really mentor for all of our kids at Dundee Crown in our community, and we're very proud of him and his family for everything they've done.
We have another presentation by Director of Public Works, Bob Cole.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, neat.
Oh, great. Nice.
Wow. Wonderful.
Well, the Village of Carpentersville Public Works Department would like to recognize you for all the probably thousands and thousands of hours of hard work and good work ethic and dedication that you put towards your sport. And, you know, there's going to be a day when you walk off the mat. And I would like to think that the hard work ethic that you've developed over the years, that's going to follow you throughout your life. So hats off to you. So what we would like to do is present you with your very own sign. This sign will be hung up at probably 5 or 6 locations throughout the village, recognizing you and your accomplishments. Okay, so that's you. You can hang that up in your room or probably take a big nail. So
Can we get it so the camera can see?
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, show the camera. Oh, excellent. Excellent.
Also, we know that you're going to Purdue. We got your T-shirt that says Purdue, and we never want you to forget Carpentersville Public Works. I think I can take them.
I think I'd like to see that.
You're in the wrong weight class,
Thank you.
Bob, sorry.
2 for 3, Bob, if you lose the first one.
Oh, yeah. Pictures.
Well, a note for the record that Trustee Burroway and Trustee Schultz have come in. We did tell them that you were in another meeting and would be a few moments late.
Apologize. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I don't feel like you have to stay for the whole meeting. If you can, if you want to, we'll be glad to have you here. But otherwise, you're free to go.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah. It's 15 minutes of fame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Public
yeah.
comments. Do we have any commenters tonight, Terry? No commenters. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. Well, we'll hold off just a minute. Yeah.
That's all the one H to be passed. I want to discuss that at audit and finance. Was that Old Town contract? And you, Bruce, said something because I was just getting ready to make a nice speech about it. I put my, everybody.
My name is not Julie.
I don't want to set expectations too high and not meet them.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda, and before I read the particulars, we are going to withdraw item H. Manager tells me we probably should take that to audit and finance first, since it's a new expenditure, and discuss it at that point. So item H will be removed from the agenda for the time being. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of those items unless a trustee so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Any other items besides H to be removed?
I make a motion to pass.
Oh, second.
Motion Don, second Ginger. Terry, please call the roll.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Sabi?
Yes.
Trustee Raber?
Yes.
Okay. Consent agenda passes. Report of manager, officers, commissions, and staff. Mark, I see you have two items.
I want to recognize Patrick Burke, our Economic Development Director, and Patrick's got some good news about one of our local restaurants proprietor.
Good evening. I'd just like to take a moment to discuss our Culver's fundraising efforts. Since 2006, Culver's has raised over $95,000 for various organizations and events, and our police and fire departments have participated in the past. Our fire department has raised funds for the burn camp. The police department has raised funds for Special Olympics, and just last year the police department raised $780 for that. And tonight we're here with Culver's area manager Serena Michaels, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about their fundraising program and some of the other organizations that have participated in the past.
And again, Patrick, so the folks at home, what was the dollar amount since?
Since 2006, it was $95,000.
That's great.
Hi, my name is Serena Michaels. I'm the area manager for Culver's of Carpentersville, also for Culver's of South Elgin and North Aurora. For Culver's, giving back in our community is part of who we are. It's part of the true blue crew Culver's crew that we are. Guests who come into our restaurant every day are friends and neighbors. They're our team members, are people that are in our communities. And for us, it's definitely that it's our heart and our soul to give back to our community. My parents, Don and Julie Michaels, are the current owners of the restaurant, and they have instilled in me to know the fact that giving back is just everything that you can do. So with that said, what we like to call is our Scoopy Nights or Scoopy Days. We like to do car washes, all that sort of things. With our Scoopy Nights, basically it's based on a percentage. So we have a 3-tier program where it's either 5% to 20% that we donate depending on how our sales go on that. We have most of our organizations raise between $100 to, as we've had before, $700 to $800, which is great for most of our organizations. Then we also have the car washes that I had spoken of earlier. We do those on Saturdays and Sundays. Those usually from 11 to 3 o'clock, and we do a Scoopy Night with that or a Scoopy Day at that time also, which is great because they do at the car wash. They either can have them donate money at the time to do the car wash, but then also then we donate our part of the proceeds also. That usually is between 5 and 10%. That's just a little bit smaller portion because it is on a Saturday or Sunday for us. Some of the other things that we do for this is a kids program. We offer for our schools and our churches, and also for our libraries, we offer all of the coupons that we have, which are like free kids meals. We do the library program where they read so many books, and then they also get a Scoopy token. Other things that we've done for promotions, in November it's for Vets Roll, which is the organization for similar to Honor Flight, but the difference is they do a bus that actually takes them to Washington, D.C., which is a little bit less stressful because it's over a 3 to 5 day span versus Honor Flight, which is only a 1 day span that they fly in there and come back. With that, we usually have a ceremony. It's on a Saturday usually, approximately around Veterans Day. And with that, we usually put up between 300 to 400 flags around our restaurants, just to honor our veterans. Some of the other things that we do is our blood drive. We offer that in June and July, and it's a give a pint, get a pint. So when a guest, I would say, donates blood, they get a pint of our custard. Currently, we do a lot more other things, and I could go on and on about everything that we do, but that's pretty much the gist of our organization. But once again, for Culver's, this is what we do, and that's what I enjoy to do in life. Thank you.
And thank you. You were going to do your number.
Yes. If you want to donate, or excuse me, if you want to come in, put in a fundraiser or anything like that, Once again, my name is Serena Michaels. My personal cell phone number is 920-410-2863, or you can call the restaurant, and I don't care if you call my cell phone, it's on me 24/7. You can call the restaurant, Culver's, at 847-649-3225. Thank you.
Thank you.
When the manager said he thought you were going to do your number, I thought you were going to sing the Culver song or something.
President Ritter, President Ritter, I also wanted to say,
As well.
no, wait, no. I wanted to say thank you too, because I know Culver's puts all the flags out too for the Veterans Day. I know Ginger and I attended, I think, a couple years ago, so we appreciate you doing that. It looks so nice, so thank you.
It was so cold and windy.
The one
and
year.
the tent kept going up like I thought it was going to fly away.
Yeah.
It was great.
And I'd like to say thank you for the salted caramel chocolate ice cream. It's just
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you start, Jeff, one more thing. Patrick Burke, our Economic Development Director, has been visiting a lot of businesses in Carpentersville, and one of his goals is to start recognizing businesses for various things that they do in our community. So hopefully Patrick will be making presentations quite often of things that he's picked up, because he's meeting with, I just sent another batch of about 15 letters out to another round of businesses, this time more retail than the first round was industrial. Now we got a retail round that we're going to look at, and hopefully I'll get to go to a few of them with him because I enjoy the meetings. But thank you very much. We appreciate what you're doing, Patrick, and I don't know if this is part of your program, but I think it is that you invited her here. Thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Good evening, President Ritter, Board of Trustees. Manager Rooney asked that I'd come up and give you guys an update on where we stand on the special census project that we had began last year. We had the hopes that this was all going to be wrapped up by the end of the year, and unfortunately, it has gone a little bit slower than we had anticipated. Between July and January of this year, we were going back and forth rather extensively with the Census Bureau, really trying to narrow down the exact area that the census was going to be conducted, with them looking at one map, us looking at another map, and a lot of bureaucratic turnaround. Thankfully, we have now got ourselves to a meaningful position, a concrete timeline, and I wanted to take a moment to quickly update you. You'll see I left the analysis and the calendar that I'm looking at for you. I'm also going to have this information posted on the website for the public to go ahead and familiarize with themselves too. On the spreadsheet, that top set of columns was what you were presented last year and what our revenue projections were. The big things that have changed between the one on the top and the one on the bottom is pretty much an elimination of the 2016 year. We have the potential to be able to start getting revenue by the end of the year, but we can't necessarily rely on that. I think it is a solid bet, however, to rely on starting to get things by 2017. So I had eliminated that category, and it's also reflecting a higher amount of shared revenue coming from the state, as that value has increased from $142.20 to $153. So thankfully, that's insulating a little bit of the revenues that we have now lost on behalf of the Census Bureau. Effective around March 1st, we started advertising to have applicants actually go out there and conduct it. That's really the major phase that we're in right now. The Census Bureau is looking to conduct testing on April 11th, and we kind of have a mission to have enough enumerators applied, ready to test by that date. If we don't, they're just going to keep on pushing that date down the road.
How are we doing, Jeff, with that?
Say that once
Do we have enough enumerators or no?
Right now we don't.
Okay.
I'm at about 18% of the number that I actually
Really?
need.
Okay.
And, we've advertised on the website, we've gone through social media, we've done e-news, and we have it put up right outside the finance desk, and it's increasing. I think we got a little bit of local newspaper coverage last week, and I got some immediate turnaround. But the Census Bureau is not going to even bother to start the testing until they have a really meaningful amount. And then once we have that meaningful amount, everything will start to churn. And we'll have about a 2 to 3 week period for them to like actually go through, pick the candidates that we need. They'll select them. So we'll be vetting candidates April 12th to about April 22nd. Spend about a week or so notifying them and having them go through their background and processing those personnel. And I'm expecting around May 9th for them to come in, actually start the training, get out there into the community and get the work done. The Bureau is expecting about 3 weeks plus or minus to actually have the work done. About 90 days after that to actually have the information sent off to Washington, D.C., process and get up-to-date numbers back to us, back to Illinois Department of Revenue to turn around and change what our revenues coming from the state are.
Anyone with questions?
Yeah. So we have 18%. How many do we need, Jeff?
We need 25.
25 people? So
About 4 or 5 applications right now.
okay. If you're not seeing that happening quickly, do we have an alternative, like to go to a staffing agency or something like that?
We haven't identified that as an option. Going
Okay.
to a staffing agency is going to come at an added expense.
It does, yeah.
Where we are really, really hoping to just really increase the effort.
Okay.
Simply get the candidates. And you know, this is an example. You know, I had the interview with the newspaper last week. Really do whatever it takes. 25 isn't an outrageous number. It really is great experience for them to be working with the Census Bureau, getting the training. You don't need any skills to be able to do it. The Census Bureau is going to completely do that for you.
What's the age limit?
You just have to be 18 years old.
Okay.
So the requirements are to be at least 18 years old, have a valid driver's license and a vehicle, ability to hear the responses and to read questionnaires, available for a minimum of 20 hours a week, which includes a lot of walking and climbing stairs, available for day, evening, and weekend work as needed, must be available to attend the 3-day training session at the beginning of the field work, and they should have access to a private corded home phone. Those are the only requirements that were given by the Census Bureau.
Okay. Have you spoken to, like, anybody at the high school?
Not yet.
But they might have limited availability.
Well, true, but there might be,
Yeah,
you know, it's not like we're looking at needing 50 people.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
But
John,
thank you,
maybe you
Jeff.
could recruit some of the firemen. They probably, on their days off, could probably do this and enjoy it. They like to talk to the residents, so.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jeff.
Jeff.
That would conclude the report of the staff tonight.
Okay. Don, any report this evening?
Commission reports?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. We had a Jelkes Creek watershed meeting on the 7th, and we went over a few items. I presented them with that, I thought I had it with me, the Carpenter Creek sign that I got from Bob. And Bob, I'll be sending you a note on that. I want to put a website on there, and I'll send you a message, okay? And we talked about some other things. We're drafting up a newsletter that will be presented here, and where I got some photographs of Carpenter Creek and some of the signs that we have down there already explaining what we're doing, and hopefully they'll be in that newsletter. So I think that's a real good process. And just financials, and I know our membership is paid up. Ed paid that, so we're all set there. Quadcom meeting in May. Well, actually, we have a special meeting on the 23rd of March. So we'll have a quorum there this time, and we can approve the financials. That's all. Thank you.
Well, Paul may want to give his report when he gets here on business development, but we'll just keep going. Kevin?
No audit and finance meetings since the last time we had a board meeting. The next audit and finance meeting will be on April 12th. One of the items was just pulled off of the consent agenda here, so we'll be discussing that along with a bunch of other topics that I covered in the previous meeting.
What time is it?
6:30.
6:30? Okay, thank you. We had a Parks meeting last night, our first one back, and it was a good meeting. We reviewed some of the suggestions for the community enhancements from the gaming revenue. There's a few questions that we had. We need to go back and talk to some of the folks that sent in suggestions. But all in all, it would seem pretty well received by the Parks Committee. We are going to take a walk because there's a large dollar amount suggested for Keith Andrews Park to finally get some cleanup, and the committee would like to walk the park, and as Director Cole said, we need a plan, in order to do it. So I think I'm kind of looking forward to that. Bless you. Also, we did decide to move the holiday decorating to the Special Events Committee, but of course we talked to the Parks Committee and told them we certainly need judges. So if they'd like to still participate, we'd welcome that. So that would be great. Also talked about Arbor Day. That'll be coming up on the 29th of April, and Don Quiner is getting that squared away. Seems like we'll be getting another tree from one of our other committee members that works for the landscaping company. They're going to order the trees for the kids, the little treats, and I was asked, President Ritter, if you'd be able to attend. So that's you'll be gone?
I'll be in Asia.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'll be on an airplane.
Oh, okay.
For 18 hours.
Okay, I'll let Don know. So, but Jim McFagan had attended last night, and so Don asked if he would give. I guess he gives this talk too. So we should be fine, So looking forward to that, and can't believe we're already at Arbor Day, and then also we talked about what else? I think that was it. So we had a few other things, some small things, but our next meeting is April 11th, and it'll be at Public Works at 6:30 for that. And then we'll be reviewing, as I think the Arbor Day is the 29th, so that'll probably be the central focus of that agenda. Then for the Events Committee, we had another quick meeting last week. Our next scheduled meeting is March 23rd, also Public Works at 6:30. We are probably going to move our meetings from Wednesdays to another day of the week to accommodate everyone, but this one will still be held on the 23rd. Did have some updates. I wanted to talk to the members about forming subcommittees so that there wasn't a lot of redundancy. We weren't all looking for, I always say, the hot dog guy, and then we all came with the hot dog guy, but we didn't have anything else. So we have our committee down into groups of 2, and then some folks are going to be looking for food vendors, some for craft vendors, some will do some marketing, so we'll be able to cover all our bases to get our events done. Then we did talk about the fact that we aren't going to be able to host the Lumberjack show this year. Was a little smaller than what we thought it would be, but I did contact the gentleman that I'd had correspondence with and asked if he would be available next year, and maybe we could piggyback it for like a fall fest, a pumpkin fest, where they would fit in nicely. And he said, by all means, just give him a call. So it's not entirely off the books, so to speak, just this year. And we had extensive update on the Civil War reenactment that'll be coming. And at our next meeting, Chuck Wozniak, who runs that unit, some of you have met, he'll be attending that meeting so that he can meet the committee and any questions they might have. And, and I'm in the background still meeting with other people and talking on the phone, and we've got some, a few crafts people. I went to a fair on at Elgin High School on Sunday. It was huge. I was stunned how big it was, and talked to a couple of people that do some crafts, and I tell you, they couldn't say yes fast enough when they heard it was for a Civil War reenactment. Some woman that sells honey, she was like, I have goosebumps. We would have Civil War down in our area, so it was kind of nice. So we've got a few things going, and I've got a few other tentacles out there, getting some other people. So that pretty much kind of wrapped it up. So, and as I said, that next meeting will be our regularly scheduled on the 23rd. So concludes my report. Thank you.
When's the next park meeting?
No, April.
Did you get to vote finally,
Yeah,
Paul?
I did finally get to vote. I even brought the little sticker, although I don't think you need to vote, you can just go take one.
Yeah.
Well, you have a business development report?
Yeah.
Time or?
I do, yeah. No, so tomorrow we're having a joint meeting. I don't know if Kevin mentioned it. Audit and Finance is going to be there. Business Development, Park Commission, Planning and Zoning, Special Events, and the Village Board. And we're going to be talking about branding. And this will be at the Public Works Facility tomorrow at 6:30. And then we're going to do a follow-up meeting on April 6th, also at 6:30. So tentatively, we're probably going to cancel the Business Development Commission meeting for the end of the month, since we're having these two meetings, surrounding it. So we can cover our business at those two meetings and cancel our normal one. But other than that, that's all I have for business development.
Sorry we couldn't hold the
I know.
wrestler, but,
Yeah.
He had about 6 or 8 people here with him, so we let him.
Awesome. That's
get
great
done.
to hear.
It was very nice.
I'll have to check the video.
Nice guy. Seemed like a real nice kid. Okay, well, that should take care of our reports. We have no old business. We have no new business, so we're ready for trustee reports. And let's see, this evening we'll start with Pat.
I really don't have anything. I'm looking forward to this meeting tomorrow night, where there was a suggestion. I left a message. I didn't hear back with regards to, I think, part of it. There's some questions as to just exactly what it was all about. But I'm assuming we'll hear tomorrow night. So it'll be interesting, so. And other than that, it looks like we've got something from the fire department, John. Haven't had a chance, obviously, to look at it, but it looks very nice, so thank you very much. So I appreciate it. And that would conclude my report.
Don? Excuse me.
We had a ad hoc, I don't know what you'd call it, meeting today for the Old Town area, for driveways and streets and all of that, and we'll be discussing that a little bit later. That went well, and it was real good. Thank you to John and Mark to help us with that. We have the minutes, and you could look at those. And we followed your ploy there, Paul, and said you go along with us. That's good. Also, I'd like to say I will not be able to attend tomorrow night's meeting because of some life happens. That's the way it is. So, but I will be able to attend the second one because I'm really interested in that. Look forward to it. So, thank you. That's all.
Ginger?
I just want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day, as if you can't tell. I'm a little Irish.
Really?
I missed out on top of the morning to you. No, I forgot what I was going to say.
The event this weekend, even though it wasn't ours.
Yes, that's true. I didn't attend it, but I heard it because I live very close, and scared me to death. When the fireworks started, I thought it was a thunderstorm. My dog took off up the stairs, and I didn't see him for a couple hours. Well, a couple hours because he's still trying to get over all of the noise and stuff. So, but it sounded like there was a lot of pictures on Facebook of it, videos. People took some videos. It looked really nice, and it sounded like everybody was having a good time. So, happy St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. My apologies for being late tonight. The turnout was about the same in 18. The problem was the computers to attach or affix the information on the voter to the voting card was running really slow. And apparently that was all day. And the judges really were upset as to how long it took. The one judge said she had one break the entire day, which, you know, for them starts at 5 in the morning, so till 7 at night. So, and there was a line at least a block long when I left. So I waited about an hour and 15 minutes to vote. So,
Where do you vote?
over at Randall Oaks, the park or the golf course. So, other than that, again, my apologies for being late, and I have nothing else. Thanks.
Happy to see that so many people turned out to vote today. My wife waited about an hour and a half right over here at the Moose Lodge as well. So got a chance to have dinner with one of the firefighters the other night and talk to them a little bit about the village and some of their concerns and things that are going on. That was nice. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to just reiterate what everyone else has said. It's great to see election turnout so great today, and the St. Patrick's Day Parade was very well attended. My family had a great time there. Maybe that's something we could look into becoming involved in also, besides just the Dundies. And happy Election Day.
I drove by the Moose at like 1 in the afternoon, and it was just packed. It must have been busy all day long.
It was a mess. My daughter's an election judge. It was a mess.
Did they have
all
the same
day.
problem with computers?
With the
or
computers, with lack of judges. There were 3 at Parkview. I had to take her a sandwich because she couldn't get away. And it's far more than that. I will just reserve any opinion until later, but there's a lot of confused folks out there
Yeah,
today.
they moved away from the paper ballots.
Yeah.
So, or paper information on the voters.
Yeah.
So that they can accommodate people walking up to vote. So they got to figure something out.
Problem is,
Jack's
you
office.
got to know who you're voting for. That
That's
was a
true.
big problem today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big.
The delegates, I'm sure, confused a lot of people.
Yeah. Well.
Well, it was
They're confusing themselves.
probably a record
Yes.
turnout, and they probably didn't staff for a normal turnout, but that's,
No, actually.
they should have known that
There was
there
a
would be
number of
big
machines just sitting open.
Mm-hmm.
The computer to get the voter information is what the problem was. There was a block of machines that were just sitting there empty. Nobody's using them.
It'll be just as crazy in November.
Yeah.
Well, my report has a few things. I was at the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus yesterday. It was at Navy Pier, and we had a very big turnout of mayors, including Mayor Manuel was there. Governor Rauner had a representative there, and had just quite a few things. It was probably 2 things. Number one, I did run into Governor Rauner's person who does liaison between the other units of government and the mayor, and the governor. And you guys got my email that I sent. I talked to him about Carpenter Park and our problems with, so long going into a second summer with no equipment and on and on. And he did say he would look into it. He didn't know if he could do anything, but he said that there aren't very many of us with this problem. With the other problems like fuel tax and all that, every village is affected, but only a small number of villages are affected by this problem of held funds. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe he can do something. Maybe he can't. The other thing that was somewhat interesting, we keep asking Springfield to start finding a way for the 2 sides to get together and work on this budget. And several of us were talking, and we were looking at the governor's letter that he sent to the villages, and there were a few significant things in there, at least by my estimation. 3 or 4 of his top things that he's been asking for all along, like term limits and redistricting, and there was a 3rd one that was on there. But those have dropped off of his list. Now that to me would be a sign that here's somebody who's ready to move forward, because he's already moved some of his most important agenda items and has taken them off the table, and has said that he does not want to touch the distributive fund, which is also something that was on his original proposal. But unfortunately, we asked around, and the mayors were saying, was anything happening from the other side? Are you seeing any signals that they're going to drop some of their demands and that they're going to kind of move toward the middle? And we couldn't find any. So unfortunately, the governor has made some attempts to reduce his list and give up some things that he thought he needed to have. Maybe that'll be a signal. Maybe there's something happening behind closed doors that we're not hearing about. But the fact that he reduced his list with the 4 things that are always the first ones he mentions, and they're all gone now. So that has to be a step in the right direction toward possibly solving this. Another thing, this just happened. I just got an email from one of the members of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and she is resigning due to going back to college and having to use her time for that. So we will have an opening on the Planning and Zoning Commission. It will be posted on the village website. And I thought about this, thinking before I even got this, that one of the things I'd like to get is some applications from business owners, because most of at least half of the items that come to PZC, and Don can probably back me up with this, are business related. People wanting sign changes, or they want a certain kind of usage, and I think the business community ought to be represented. Now, business community is pretty broad, but it does need to be a Carpentersville resident. That's by ordinance, and I can't change that. But if you own a business in another town and live in Carpentersville, or you live in Carpentersville and have a business here, I'd like you to consider getting on the PZC so we have some business representation on there. Now, anybody else who wants to apply, you can also apply. It'll be the best candidate. I'm not going to exclusively look for a business person, but I would certainly like to have some business people to choose from. Our emphasis on business development and business retention is real, and this is just one more way we can say, businesses, we want your input into what happens here. And one of the things I noticed with Patrick and I visited a place that's actually an international corporation with their headquarters and their CEO right here in Carpentersville. It's a company called Bulk Lift. They have plants in Mississippi, Mexico, China, and India, maybe. So they have three other countries, plus other states, and they're an international firm. And the owner lives right here, and their headquarters is over on Tamarack Drive. So I didn't know we had any international corporations represented in Carpentersville, but we do. International business. Learn something every time we go on these meetings. We learn something new and interesting. I don't mean to steal your thunder, but since I was there, I figured I'd take a shot at it. With that, ends our trustee reports. And the next thing would be a closed session meeting. We need to talk about items 2C1, 2C2, that's it, 2C1 and 2C2 of the Open Meetings Act. I need a motion for that.
We do have one. I'll make a motion.
Motion, Jeff.
I'll second.
Second, Ginger. We will be meeting upstairs in the round room for this. And I will note, after we take our vote, that we will adjourn or reconvene here to talk about a few other business items.
Reconvene in this room or upstairs?
We will reconvene here. We'll come back downstairs since we have a guest coming in tonight too for that second meeting. Terry, will you call a roll on the motion and second there, please?
Trustee Burroway,
Yes.
Trustee Stevens.
Yes.
Trustee Humphrey.
Yes.
Trustee Savi.
Yes.
Trustee Ritter.
Yes.
So we don't have to carry.
Yes.
Adjourn to the upstairs.